Viewer contributions make local programming possible on WNIN. Become a member of WNIN with your contribution so we can continue to make this programming available. Visit WNIN.org and click on the donate button.
We're back for the second week in November. Patrick, I'm glad to see you're out of timeout.
Your Honor, it is good to be back now that the government is going to be back in session. It was the least that I could was to show up.
It's not done yet. It's not a done deal yet.
No, that's because the Republicans went home in September, and now they're trying to get back in the airport.
It's because the Democrats are feuding among themselves. They're all upset because they don't like Chuck Schumer.
You know, on a serious note.
Yeah.
I've never been a big fan of government shutdowns, no matter which party does it. But I think maybe all the pundits are being a little too quick about saying the Dems caved and this and that and the other. What the Dems did, and just the elections here in November showed, is tee up for America the fact that health care is a problem. Now, you can say 8 of them crossed over. And my response to that would be yeah, they didn't want to see people starve. So I'm not too upset with the Democratic Party's play on this issue.
Healthcare is a problem because Obamacare isn't working.
And the Republican alternative is?
No.
Here's a statement from Congressman Messier on that very topic.
And Pat, once again, you're wrong. The Republicans are working on a plan right now. They have 2 doctors, they're former doctors that are in the Senate. They're working on a plan right now. Obamacare just doesn't work. The fact that you have to subsidize it proves it doesn't work.
You know, because of the Democrats, we have Medicaid, we have Medicare, we have health care. The only Republican solution on the national crisis has ever been health savings accounts, because banks and brokers make money on that. They have never had a plan. They've never introduced a plan. The orange monster in the White House said in the last debate, well, I have a concept. They have no plan. All they do is gripe about Obamacare, which attempted to find a way for 42 million Americans to get health care. And what did the Republicans do during Trump won? Voted 71 times to repeal it and replace it. But with what, Senator Blank?
You misconstrued what I just said. I said on this show way back when, I applauded the president for moving forward with the Affordable Care Act because nothing was being done. I agree with you. But the problem is, it isn't working.
It is working.
It's not working.
If the subsidies are paid, it's kept the costs down for ever since Obama was president.
The plan was not supposed to reduce costs without any subsidies. It's not working.
Medicaid works, Medicare works, and if we really had the guts, we'd have Medicare for all, like Bernie says, and we could put this aside. It is a crime that we don't have health care for all Americans.
I'll let Mayor Adami know that you're available for his socialist agenda. Let's talk about some things that are happening around here.
All right.
With our institution, IU. Yesterday, an IU professor was jerked out of the classroom because he violated a new state law that calls for diversity of opinion.
I don't know anything about that. I must be hiding behind the hedgerows now that I'm not a trustee anymore, but tell me more.
Well,
I have no idea.
It's something this particular professor was teaching in the classroom. Look, I had a socialist for sociology. I had a socialist for political science 105.
And now you're on TV with comrade shoulders.
But I'll tell you what, institutions of higher learning are full of that exchange of ideas to learn things and not to indoctrinate either one way or the other. And pulling somebody out of the class. In fact, many of these students are now complaining because their papers are not being graded. They show up for exams, and the professor's not there, the exam's not there. What's going on?
Well, I think you know what's going on, and what's going on is that the Republican Party has tried to snuff out any place where there was progressive thought. How about right here, Channel 9, which we did not fund, either at the state or federal level, because we object to the content. Let's move now to college campuses, where we have had in the academic world the true thoroughbreds in this country of research, development, and advancement of knowledge. But the rumor is, well, they're all liberal. So what if the Republicans attack next? In this state, have taken on curriculum, have removed the trustees at IU. It's another Republican ploy to quell dissent.
Well,
and Senator Banks, where are you on that, rubber stamp?
There'll be no props next show, I promise you. December, no props. No props December. You know, certainly the leadership in the Republican Party has gone astray, in my opinion. There are some responsible Republicans like Mitch Daniels, who's been very vocal opposing redistricting. Those voices are still out there. It's very frustrating to me they're not being heard.
I will say this in front of all 5 million viewers. You, back when you could be in politics, would never have been. This is me. You can speak for yourself. You would have never been a MAGA Republican. You were a conservative, and our show was about the proper role of government and the use of tax dollars, the kinds of things that our politicians ought to be debating. Not ideology, not Micah Beckworth and Todd Embarrassment, trying to indict people or trying to make this a Christian nation. That's never been the role of our politicians.
Neither has the role been of the Attorney General to call the National Guard to Indianapolis to fight crime.
Well, we'll start calling it the attorney moron if he keeps the office long enough. But through the prism of only you get here on Shively and Shoulders, we are going to introduce, once again, a person who needs no introduction.
Absolutely.
A county council person who's going to bring us up to date on all things local. If you'll stay tuned, I promise you'll hear from somebody other than Shively and Shoulders. Loyal 5 million, we have a treat for you. And let me tell you a little story about our next guest. Have a nightmare tonight when you go to sleep and dream that you're asked to dress up like Teddy Roosevelt and appear before an entire high school as Teddy Roosevelt and try to keep their attention for 30 minutes. Our next guest, a longtime and very popular teacher at Central High School, made that request for yours truly. I survived, and I'm happy to welcome Jill Hahn, a member of our county council, to Shively and Shoulders.
Thank you. This is a first to be here.
Good to have you.
You haven't been on with us before?
I have never been on.
When you were running for office?
No.
We took it as a foregone conclusion that you were going to win.
This is a treat for me.
You'll change your mind in due course.
Well, having known both of you for many years, this is definitely a treat.
And I would have really hoped better for your political party, but we're not here to talk about that. You chose to run on that side of the aisle, and that's okay. You're a loyal public service. Before we get to the Coliseum situation here, what's the latest with the county council?
Oh, before the county council. Well, back in August, we did our budget cuts according to SB 1. We did our due diligence here, and we listened to all 40 of our department heads and did have to make $1.2 million cuts.
Thanks you to Senate Bill 1 and Governor All Brawn, No Brains, brings you SB 1, and you got to cut just from our county budget 1.2?
1.2.
Are you going to have to raise any revenue sources?
No.
County wheel tax kind of thing?
I got to tell you, our council has been conservatively, physically responsible. Since COVID did a number on America, and it certainly did a number on our budgets. When the state increased the Indiana State Police salaries up to about $86,000, it drew a lot of our sheriff's deputies, a lot of law enforcement to other counties that might not have counties that are quite so active. So we had to increase our law enforcement dollars there, and we're still trying to compete public versus private. And so we continue to do that, but I think we're doing a really, really good job. We're doing a lot of different things, trying to do better for our county.
Good for you.
And I'm proud of it.
You say this publicly. I'm very appreciative of the council keeping mental health court alive. Appreciate that.
I got to say, I'm very proud of that. I think that's very, very important. I think COVID brought to the forefront that mental health needed to be something that needed to be addressed and needs to have that. And we are going to be having that part in the new jail. We're going to have that mental health wing. And that was one place that, yes, some people said, well, could we possibly, pull a few dollars from there, but we felt in the end it wasn't worth it, that we're committed to that as something that needs to be addressed in our community.
Now,
Shifting gears. This is Veterans Days. We're taping a show.
Yes.
And you're here to talk also about your efforts to preserve the old Coliseum, which was dedicated for veterans of foreign wars.
Right, yes.
Explain what's going on and why.
Well, during the COVID and, during the Biden administration, one of the great things that came out of that was the ARPA dollars. And
Tell our viewers what that is.
Sure. The ARPA dollars were funding for communities that needed to show a loss of funding. And so the county got so many dollars.
And that was during which administration?
The Biden administration.
Oh, I thought you said that. I wasn't sure.
It was during
Go
that
ahead.
time period.
Good.
So
He can't stop being partisan.
Yes, I can.
And so we were given so many dollars. The city was given so many dollars, and we distributed it a number of ways. One of the things that we saw that was needed, besides like we put money towards Burdette, we built child playgrounds, ADA playgrounds. We also gave several $100,000 to nonprofits that took losses during the COVID time period. And one of the things that was near and dear to my heart was the Coliseum.
Why?
Well, for a number of reasons. The Coliseum has not had a great deal of love put towards it for quite some time. And we were able to earmark $6.5 million. And this is items that the public normally doesn't get to see, such as the lower infrastructure that's in the bottom of the building. We put a brand new boiler, we put fire suppression, new plumbing, just all the new electric. There was actually some of the old original 1915 wiring. Some of the wiring was actually live, did not have any kind of safety features to it. So we gutted all that part, and so now everything is fully functioning for a safety mechanism. And that was phase one. So now we begin phase two, which is $3.5 million. And I was asked by the commissioners and by a lot of people, since I had the passion to pick this Coliseum to move it along. I felt like I could.
Why the passion for this particular building?
Because it represents our veterans that served in this area, the tri-state area. It originally started going back to the Grand Army of the Republic, which was the Union armies, the sons of the Civil War, still very active here in this area. And the Grand Army of the Republic is one large room. We have the Spanish-American War room. That is where those men used to meet. And then as time progressed in the Coliseum, we would have World War I, World War II, and that was their secret meeting rooms that they could sit down, close the room, talk about their battle wounds, talk about what was driving them to have issues of the day. And that's where a lot of decisions were made. And the inside of that room became a meeting place for the community.
It wasn't originally built to host professional wrestling, was
No, it absolutely was not.
And just as an aside here, because I think some of our 5 million viewers may not be aware that these buildings, the old courthouse,
Yes.
the Coliseum, because they had county-wide jurisdiction, are the province of county government.
Yeah, well,
It's not the city council that's doing this Coliseum, it's the county council.
it is the county, but yet everybody gets to enjoy it, whether you live in the city or the community. And we're
Absolutely.
wanting to get it back open. And what's preventing us is that it needs to be ADA compliant.
What's the cornerstone dedication date of the, I live downtown now, and I run by there. It's just a gorgeous building. Well, that whole square, the old courthouse, you had the jail, and then you had the Coliseum, or the centerpiece of the downtown of Evansville.
I call it the historic triangle.
Exactly.
Because of that. And then with the LST, we have a great opportunity to share our history with others across, not just within our community, but for visitors that may come to Evansville. And that was the original place that Evansvillians would come to have dances. They watched silent films. 1916 is what the cornerstone
I think the
was.
same
During
year,
World War I.
the same year that Bosse Field was constructed.
Yes, and in fact, Mayor Bosse actually had his funeral was in the Coliseum.
And right there in Garvin Park, you've got the home of James Bethel Gresham,
Exactly.
the first American killed in World War I.
And his funeral
And his funeral was there?
held there as well. So we've had circuses, we've had, I mean, that was the original place that the community came to gather for all kinds of theaters and dances and coming home.
So now we're in 2025.
Sure.
What's the future plans for use of this facility?
Basically the same thing. We wanted to open it up for weddings and venues
And judges' funerals and things like that.
well, we hope for a long, long time. But, you know, we do want this to be the grand lady of the bell. There's not many. Evansville has been known to tear down some of our most prettiest buildings, and we don't want this to come to dust.
The judge's friend,
And so-
Randall Shepard, our former Chief Justice, saved a few before they got torn
Well,
down.
he was one of the men, because I ran his academy for 10 years.
Yeah.
I went to him knowing his love for historic preservation, and he put us in touch with the Brigadier General of the Indiana Landmarks Memorial. And he was our guest speaker last Saturday night. And I can't thank enough those two men, because they truly were my guiding light to tell me this is who you need to contact and how to do this type of thing. And so he was our guest speaker, and the night before he had an ailment and had to be rushed into the emergency room. So unfortunately, he was not able to come down here and give his speech.
You had a
But
great
this-
crowd though last Saturday.
We had over 500 people for our inaugural ball, and I am so thrilled that the public came out. Corporations came out.
You say
people
inaugural.
Came out.
More to come?
More to come, yes.
And this is
more
part
to
of,
come.
you spent 6.5. This is part of the next 3.5 that you're raising?
Right, we are fundraising the next $3.5 million, and so we are going to be talking to, we're going to have another gala. We're going to be looking at another date.
Another 1920s. In the mood. You remember
Well,
that?
and
You
you
were
know-
born then.
Yeah.
It was really, really nice because, yes, we had the In the Mood,
In the mood.
the George Gershwin.
Exactly.
So I'm a lover of music, and so we had the Temple Airs.
Oh, sure.
They played as people came in for the cocktail hour. And
Probably
then,
the sons of the Temple Airs by now.
and then we had the Metro Ballroom Dance Club,
Oh.
and they were swing dancers, and they were dancing on the floor as people came in to get everybody involved into it. And so then after dinner, which I gotta say, the dinner was outstanding, but we had Cool City Band, who also did some Frank Sinatra to all the way to the jazz age, and even had some 70s, 80s classic rock and roll. So the whole night was just magical. And I got to tell you, for this being our first time, we had a team of individuals that really made it happen. I had all the ideas up here, but I had to have a great deal of people to pull it off.
Did we raise money?
We did, and our receipts are still coming in. Donations are still coming in. And so we do have a website.
Great.
And we also have a Facebook page that we are encouraging people to go on to. If anyone is interested, it is the Veterans Coliseum Preservation Foundation Board, and that shows our journey as we progress through the different stages, the different phases, and we certainly hope that everyone will get involved.
Rotary met there.
Yes,
I
they
had
did.
when I brought Miles Brand down here. Well, that shows how long ago we're talking about. Rotary was there, and that's where he gave his talk. So it just needs now some love in the inside. You've got it mechanically working. It
It's
heats, it
usable.
cools, it doesn't leak.
Completely usable.
You had this event there.
No.
Oh, you didn't
We
have
were
this event.
unable to.
Okay.
We had to have it at the Old National Events Plaza because the restrooms are not ADA compliant.
I got you.
And when we shut it down over a year ago, we only had about half the stalls working. And so it needs some TLC before we can open it up for the public. But once it gets back opened up, it's going to be usable for all the venues that people want to use it. Honor Flight is very much interested in getting back there because they use that for all the veterans to come, get to know each other before they went on their flight to Washington, D.C.
We now have a new group of veterans
Yes.
from the Iraq War
Yes.
and
Yes.
Afghanistan wars. Younger group.
Right.
Are they active as well with this?
We're trying to get more and more people, younger people that are involved. And if you're listening right now and you would like to contact me, I do run the Facebook page. You can DM me if you're interested in being on the board. We are always looking for people who have ideas. I have one lady that contacted me that wants to do the silent auction next year. She just came up and says, I got some great ideas. Can I meet with you? We met for lunch. She has the enthusiasm, and I was like...
You had a silent auction at this event, right?
We did, and we had a lot of different things, and I believe we raised over $10,000 just on that. So every bit helps, every nickel helps. We used to say every penny, but now it's every nickel.
They don't make pennies anymore, I guess.
It's a great cause. We wish you great success with that. And at the next event, Les is really good at silent auctions because we don't have to hear him. When we come back, Les will take more shots at me.
Guaranteed. This is being taped or recorded, I should say, on Veterans Day. So thank you to all our veterans out there.
Absolutely. If we learned anything in our generation, the Vietnam War, you can be against the war, but you don't need to be against the warrior. Those that answer the call and fulfill a duty to the United States, which is one of the only things, frankly, you see that we all agree on anymore. Whenever you're at a big football game or you're at a sporting event of any kind and they announce we have veterans with us, the whole crowd can join together.
Okay,
and I don't even have a problem with them letting them on the airplane first. Well, sometimes it bugs me a little bit.
Question.
Yes.
The shutdown is about ready to end,
Yes.
hopefully this week.
If they get back, if the House comes back.
As we look at the issue, winners and losers. Patrick?
Oh, you're talking about coming out of the shutdown.
Come out of shutdown.
My view of that is that, as I said, I'm not a big fan of shutdowns. I think we all pay taxes. We have the right to have them at work. But I believe that the Democrats have teed up the issue of health care, and I believe they secured a vote, at least in the Senate, in December. And I think they showed that they have a heart, that people starving may be a reason to open it back up. So I'm not sure they lost. I know Fox wants to say we caved, and I know that my own party, they're shooting at each other saying get rid of Schumer. I think it was a win to this extent. Healthcare is broken in the United States. It ought to be on the front burner.
And as I said at the beginning, not criticizing President Obama, we had to do something.
Yes.
But Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, is not working. Both sides need to come together to find a solution. We've got physicians in the Senate and in the House that know how health care works or how it doesn't work. They've experienced it in their own lives.
Larry Bouchon was there for about 12 years, a physician, and I remember how Larry fixed. Oh, wait.
Let's be positive.
Oh, okay.
The one way to get fixed is a bipartisan solution.
Yes.
need to come together.
Well, we've put our idea, and I'm not arguing with you, but I am arguing with you. We've put our idea on the table, and all you all have ever done is voted to repeal it 71 times.
And I would agree. Repealing is not the answer.
Right.
But the Affordable Care Act, as it is now presently designed, the fact that it needs subsidies shows it's not working. We need to come together for a solution.
And I think that's right. And I think there needs to be a universal, we could do lots of shows on the fix, and maybe we could get people that really know what they're talking about. But I think it is scandalous that we are the only Western civilization that doesn't have. Canada, England, they have a national health care program. Others have figured it out. We could do that here.
The real challenge is facing us. And I'll tell you what, we're going to see in meeting this challenge a new change in leadership on both parties.
Medicaid, poor folks up to a certain level, old folks up to a certain level. It was this gap right here that we tried. Obamacare was an effort to pick up another 42 million. We can close this gap. Maybe have to take a little profit out of it. Oh.
You know what? One thing that really hit me during the shutdown was the number of people that was reported that were on SNAP benefits.
Absolutely.
Another challenge that both sides will be working on, why do we have so many unemployed people in this country?
Well, it's hard to figure because
people below the poverty
the
level.
Orange Clown said on day one prices would come down. And in fact, he just yesterday said this is the greatest economy in the history of the United States. The problem is nobody's buying it anymore. And as a brilliant person has said on this show for many months, a year from now, you won't be able to find anybody that will admit they voted for the criminal.
That being said, at the end of the day, both sides agree that voters' number one issue is the economy. But both sides have a different way of approaching that. Mondami wants to do a socialist approach. Mm-hmm. Conservative Republicans want to use free enterprise to make it work. You know, there's an answer somewhere in between.
And that word gets a terrible connotation. If you talk about
that?
Government socialism, the government involved in saying, oh, well, that we've got something called Medicare and Social Security, and the government's real involved in all of that. But we labeled stuff as socialism. But now that I've got a judge here with very few minutes left, how are the Supremes going to rule on this tariff question?
Well, the questions were pretty tough.
They were.
This past week. Well, they hear it on
Gorsuch and Amy Coney Barrett seem to have a problem.
But you know, from arguing before appellate tribunals,
I do.
Just because you get friendly questions
That's true.
or negative questions doesn't mean they're for you or against you.
That's true. You never want to predict you based on the questions. But
my guess is they're going to find that the president cannot unilaterally impose these tariffs.
Well, I think they've dug themselves a little bit of a hole with their major questions doctrine. You know, you strike down Biden trying to forgive student loans by saying if Congress had intended to give the president that power on a major question, the language would be clear. Well, guess what? There's nothing in the International Emergency Economy Act that even uses the word tariff. So this same Supreme Court is going to have to apply their major questions doctrine and say if they're consistent.
And I think they will.
I hope so.
I think they will.
I hope so, because I think we need to restore a little bit of credibility in the third branch.
And exactly. And I think both sides, either privately or publicly, will embrace that decision as the appropriate one.
Well, and you know what Congressman Messier had to say about that?
It's Messmer, Congressman Messmer of the 8th District. You're a congressman.
And Senator Banks has been waiting for Trump to speak, because when he does...
And we'll see in December, there will be no props, guaranteed.
Thank you for watching Shively and Shoulders.